Hey friends, welcome back to Crash Out Alchemy. We are so excited to be here. Today we're diving into something that we've mentioned in the first couple of episodes, and it's incredibly simple and surprisingly powerful emotional freedom technique, or EFT, or tapping. I use all three interchangeably depending on my audience. And if you've been listening to us, you know that we are all about blending practical with the mystical, and tapping is this sweet spot. It's grounded in science, which I'll get into in a few minutes, and it helps calm your nervous system down within seconds. Honestly, it's shocking how fast it works.
Yeah, it's shocking.
I mean, it really does feel magical. It feels like you've learned a magic trick.
And the more I'm learning about it too, it is really not as magical. It's not as mystical. It's not as woo-woo as whenever, it is in the fact that I don't have to do anything special. I can just check in with my own body and regulate. But the more the science behind it is becoming available,
right?
It's like, oh, okay, well that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So,
which she's going to tell us. Spoiler alert, we're going to learn. I know, right?
First found tapping. Not open the window behind me. I don't know where to put my hands. I'm figuring all of this out, guys.
Ever in my whole life, I never know what to do with my hands. Sit on them.
I found tapping about 10 years ago through my therapist, who predominantly works in energy psychology. He uses muscle testing in his therapy techniques, and so right out the gate, he gave me information on EFT to give me a tool to use on my own when I couldn't be in his office.
Right.
And to have someone help explain what the F was going on with me. So I found it. I thought it was incredibly weird and silly, and so my subconscious mind just put it down here, and then my life continued to be dramatic, and I was having shit come up and happen to me all the time. And then you go to your therapist, as one does, and tell the dramatic stories about whatever's going on, and he would inevitably at some point be like, tap on that while you were super fucking stressed out. And nope, didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't even until years later that I realized, this is directly self-sabotage. That's how self-sabotage works.
That is self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Mine is a little bit different. Number one, I'm always all in on a new woo-woo modality. And so I learned EFT tapping through Joan. And I'm not saying I hadn't seen it before or whatever, but I had never done it. I had never taken instruction on how to do it or what the science behind it was. There's even been more science behind it come forward, I think, since I did take that class. Yeah. Well, I don't remember Australia, and I don't remember countries being, you know what I mean? I don't remember any of that being mentioned, but maybe that's just also, I forgot. What I'm saying is, I learned it through you, and I went all in, and it worked immediately. I don't remember why I was stressed out. I think it was really rainy that day that I drove to your first class, and I was stressed out over that.
Oh my God, I put that out of my mind. I couldn't remember what
class
you were referring to
yeah.
because I have blocked it.
And,
completely different reason.
Right, and moving on.
Yeah.
First introduction, and that
right.
class was when I was like, holy shit, I do feel better, and I do feel more regulated, and that is crazy that worked that fast. And I didn't feel silly. I didn't doubt it. I had evidence that it did work because my own body was telling me that it worked, and I still fucking forget.
Right.
And it's a tool in my toolbox, and I will forget to, I've been more mindful. I've been incorporating it in daily, which we were talking before we started recording, and it's learning, teaching yourself to remember is an important part of establishing a new routine.
And sometimes I still sabotage. Sometimes I still resist it. Sometimes I want to keep my pain or my anxiety or whatever. And that's a whole separate episode.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Wallowing in your self-misery.
And we're all guilty of it, for sure.
Yes.
But it wasn't until I found Gala Darling on YouTube, and then in turn Brad Yates, which if you guys aren't familiar with either of them, I will put some links in the show notes to them, because they are both equally great in very different ways.
Totally opposite. I remember, because Joan is the one those were the two people that you said, these two people who I watch on YouTube, and I love them both, and I've done tapping with them both. I resonate with Daddy Brad. I go to Brad, and I think it's because it's just, like I said, there's no fluff, there's no nothing. It's just really, these are the things, and it works.
He's got of style, and it's great. And he adds a little bit of humor in, which I think kind of comes from his improv and acting career. Did you know that he was Ringling Brothers trained?
No!
And he also used to be on Days of Our Lives.
Okay, number one, I thought he looked familiar, but he also, not to be, no discredit to him, but I thought he also kind of has the Joe Average dude look.
Yeah.
Like, he's very, I think to me,
An unassuming white person.
he is a very unassuming, gentle-natured, middle-aged white man.
Yeah.
He's probably, I don't know, his tapping scripts are not in chronological order. Well, maybe they are, but I choose them according to whatever the little header says, if it applies to
Right.
way I'm feeling, and he has them broken into categories. So in some of my tapping with him, he looks like he's 35 years old, and then in some he looks like he's...
Yeah, I think he started putting videos out 20 years ago, and now, I mean, he's probably had over 30 million views.
To say the least.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, easy.
And it's funny, I was listening to a podcast of his on my way here, and he was talking about how, like, ultimately almost every issue could be distilled down into self-worth issues and learning how to love ourselves.
Yes.
But it comes at different angles. And so
Yes. And
he's probably got over 1,500 videos.
Oh, yeah.
That are all about self-worth with different titles.
Yes. And also, I have bookmarked them, like, to circle back to, and I don't think I have yet to do any of his scripts twice.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I will just usually scroll through, and I mean, ADHD is a superpower sometimes, though. You're never bored. So, but I mean, like, YouTube will tell me if I've done it before or not, and I don't remember circling back around to any, because I will always find one and be like, oh, well, this applies.
Right.
And even if it doesn't, it's kind of like what you said. I mean, it pretty much boils down to our relationship with self.
Absolutely.
And how we're feeling about ourselves. And I mean, like,
sometimes that takes a lot of layers to get to. Because I'm sure people watching this are probably like, well, no, it doesn't. I feel great about myself, but I have a headache.
Well, and also we haven't said our disclaimer, which is we are not doctors.
Right.
You do not take any medical advice from us. Don't take any advice from us at all unless you feel like it applies to you.
Yep.
And, use it for your best and highest good. We are not your... We're not trying to give you medical advice or negate any medical advice you have been given.
100%.
So, we are not saying that tapping is going to cure anything that you have been diagnosed with, or that you should stop taking any medication that is prescribed to you. Having
Thank you
said that, it is remarkable and amazing to me that this seems like woo-woo, or this seems like your reaction to it, which was it was weird or it was dumb.
My ego really got it. I'm like, this is so silly. Now I make videos and I'm silly on camera for the whole world to see.
Well, and I'm trying to remember if I would have at a different point in my life. Yes, I would have thought that it was dumb, or it. I'm all in on
at this point I don't care. I just want to feel better.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
I don't want to do anything that's gonna be super costly, hurt, leave a scar.
Yeah, exactly. I know you've got 2 mitts, and that's all you need.
And I think that it's just...
And honestly, you don't even have to tap, which we'll get into
Right.
later. You can actually mentally imagine yourself tapping, and it actually works as well.
I think that it is... Well, I know that it's intentional, that we are not taught how to navigate this technology that we exist in our experience here as people. Like, I find it, especially now that I am doing a lot of this very introspective work with my meat suit, with my body. I don't know at what point, but I am starting EMDR therapy, and that is very much checking in with your body, and I'm so grateful that I have EFT as a tool leading me into that, because to me right now, literally having my first session, I guess actually next week, but it feels very sane.
I think it's really similar. EMDR research is just ahead of tapping research by about 5 years.
Is it really only by about 5 years?
Yeah.
I knew that it was, I know the story behind it, and it was accidentally discovered, and it is fairly new. It's surprising to me that it was accidentally discovered, and it is so fairly new, that it has been so widely accepted, and it is now a modality, and I can only assume that the doctor that discovered it must have already been doing work with the very traumatized patients that she was working with, and found that it helped them, because that is what I think the evidence. She had evidential experience with some superly traumatized individuals that it rerouted their brain.
For anything to be accepted in Western ideology, it takes about 20 years of research for it to reach a tipping point where it makes it into mainstream. And I feel like it's only been in about the last 5 years that more and more people talk about it all the time as a technique that they go to their therapist for. And EFT is about 21 years into having so many clinical trials and data, most of it coming from Australia and South America. Not South America. I retract that.
Yes.
From South Korea.
I was all in with you. Yes.
Flew out of my mouth. South Korea specifically has been doing research on, so back up, EFT is a combination. It's like acupuncture without needles and cognitive behavioral therapy tools combined into one. In South Korea, they've really been, we hear about the meridian system a lot in more woo type of settings.
And Joan and I are yogis. Like, well, you've been a yoga instructor, whatever. I don't think I've ever done that, but we have learned the chakra system.
Right.
We have learned about our astral bodies. So some of this
technology is thousands of years old.
Oh gosh,
but we haven't had any scientific data to truly back it up. And specifically, the meridian system has never. It's been this ethereal thing that we cannot actually find in autopsy, and now we can.
I just think it's remarkable too that, like, and I'm about to say something that's going to sound really dumb. Google's free. Fact check me. It's a real thing. Humans have Blasco lines is what they're called. Blasco lines. I'm probably mispronouncing it.
We forget.
Thank you. So humans are striped. We have invisible stripes. Cats can see them.
This is fascinating. I've never heard this before.
So, we are pretty much the legally blind meat suit entities functioning in this reality, in the fact that we can only see such a small sliver of the light spectrum. Our pets, I'm pointing at my dog who's laying down here, but our pets see on a broader spectrum, and cats for sure. I'm not sure about dogs if they can see our Blasco lines, but cats for sure can. And so to cats, we have stripes, and under certain lights, they're visible to humans too, by the way. You'd be able to see yours, and they're kind of like tiger stripes.
I love a good stripe.
But it's like our fingerprints. So our fingerprints are little swirls. We have our hair whirl. Our hair grows in a pattern. Our Blasco lines are in a swirly pattern. Oh, yeah, right. I know. Well, so that is not even widespread mainstream information, but that is a physical part of our actual body that we don't know about, which I think is kind of crazy.
Right.
And the fact that it sounds like complete and total, like if I, with no context, was just standing next to you, I don't know, and at Walmart at the grocery store checkout, and I said to you, "Do you know when humans are striped? Really, they are invisible to you, but my cat can see it." You would be like, "Oh my God, I met a crazy person at the grocery store who was talking about something." But I mean, that is a real true thing. So it's shocking to me that even mainstream Western medicine would be poo-pooing on meridian lines. Like, we have planes in our body. Like, even in yoga teacher training, we learned, there are parts of us that we cannot see that we know are real. So I don't think it's a huge leap to understand that we have meridians.
Right. And chakras too. I think both of those get, and that's a whole other episode. But there are these ideas that have been around for a really long time, and finally now we've got some data that can start to back it up. And people need that for whatever reason,
Well, I mean, a little bit more all in on woo-woo and even new modalities or, whatever. But I understand that there are people that aren't, and that's not judgment.
I'm just cool. Yeah. I think it's cool that there's data to back it up. If that makes sense.
I do too.
I don't need it. I believe it works without it. But I've experienced that. But
same.
I definitely. It's exciting. I like data. I like science.
Well, especially we live in a world where people want to challenge. If you're bringing out something like, I can tap on my body and pull myself into a better state of being.
Yeah. And especially when it comes to health-related things, we all just went through that pandemic together. We all have very different opinions on what the truth is. And we're not here to have an opinion at all, but just to understand like where we're at with it. But so in South Korea, they finally were able to physically find this system that kind of traverses through your fascia, through your lymph system, and flows along with your circulate, the vascular system. My brain wanted to say C, and then I glitched out for a second. Thank you so much. So they're rewriting textbooks now, and future medical students are learning this stuff these days.
So question, when you say they found physical proof in South Korea, like what was that?
Through autopsy.
Yeah,
they were able to actually find these almost thread-like, and what they've discovered is they transport hormones, they transport inflammation markers. Different types of cells live within this system. So this is a little bit of my opinion, so take it with as many grains of salt, but what I'm guessing is that inflammation markers flow through that system probably more than any other system. And so when we hear concepts like someone has a cancerous tumor and it gets exposed, and then because it's exposed, it spreads so fast, it's probably through this system that it gets transported more than any other. This is a theory. Very speculative. Get on me.
My own speculative, one of the things cancer, I'm trying to choose my words very carefully because I'm also trying to not speak negatively about my meat suit or, speak. But in my family, cancer has been a very prevalent thing. And I think there has been a lot of attachment to, well, this is what happened. This is, predetermining that this is what's going to happen to me. And people do. People get sick with cancer, as Joan and I both know very well.
Yeah.
Whenever I first started regulating my hormones, one of the tests that they did, the results of my cortisol level was so high that the doctor was like, this is when someone has experienced a death, a divorce, and I have been through all those things, but I didn't have that currently going on. And so he was just saying, we have to get your cortisol levels lowered. We've got to make this manageable. Gosh, you are going to make yourself very, very sick. I'm just curious about the correlation between, especially thinking epigenetically and in familial lines, the way our nervous systems are geared and the way that we process trauma, the way we process our emotions or don't. And this vascular system, because you specifically were talking about hormones and cortisol. I'm just curious, and fast forward 30 years from now, that might be some data that we end up finding out. And this is literally just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
But it is remarkable that they're finding these new, we have new body parts. My TikTok algorithm sometimes will, tell me new discoveries every day. It's been within the last decade that I learned, we have a second brain.
Right.
And a third brain, if you think about your heart.
Right.
And so the eureka moment that I had with all of that was, wow, these are our chakras. This is, you know what I mean? We have a brain here, we have a brain here, we have a brain here, and they're all in constant communication. It's so exciting to find out that we have a modality, a tool that allows us to be a part of the system and not a passive recipient, I guess, of just you get what you get. Yeah. My nervous system is I'm activated, and now there's a
tiger in the room.
Yeah, and the tiger's flowing, and the chemicals are flowing, and I've always felt that I was at the mercy of that, and never felt like I could be at the helm.
Yeah.
And say
that's why EFT creates power for yourself in a way that, if you can calm yourself down so that you can make a decision about something, whatever it might be, making decisions from highly activated places often don't lead us down the right roads because we're in a fear state. But if we can come from a calm place to make choices in our lives, we often make better choices for ourselves. That's real fucking power.
Well, and choose to respond rather than just react.
Right. Proactively.
I was never taught that was even an option on the table, which was I get to choose how I feel about whatever. If Joan decided to just lose her shit right now and, stand up and start tables. Yeah, flip tables. I get to choose. Right. More than likely I'm going to react pretty quickly. Because, but I mean, like, short of extreme things, but it is very empowering to know that I always get to choose how I feel in my body.
Right.
And that choice is always available to me. And it may take me a minute or two to remember that choice is available to me.
For sure.
But it has been very empowering and really life-changing. Like the way I exist in the world, the way I am learning to be out and about. Speaking of going through, a global pandemic situation, the world has become a very fearful place for me. I was telling Joan about that. I feel like a lot of exhaustion just from having my head on a swivel constantly, and it's gotten better now the more that we've kind of come out of it, but I've also gathered new tools to kind of regulate. So anyway, powerful stuff.
The last really cool tidbit before we get too off in the weeds about
I will always drag us off into the
PVS. No, I wasn't.
No.
Anyway, we're bioluminescent beings, but again, like different light spectrums, like she mentioned a second ago, we can't see that, but we really are sparkly humans. That's fun for me.
You had just told me this about the PVS, the vascular system, and I had learned within the last month or two about I'm going to say fascia, but it's piezoelectric, and so every time when we're stretching and crunching all of I call my fascia my gristly bits, but we're creating electricity.
Yeah, thank you for bringing this up. And it's the main thing that they've discovered about the vascular system is that it is also piezoelectric, which just means that
when wrong too, I'm sure.
When pressed on, it creates electricity, which creates heat. So what's happening is we're tapping on these certain points on our body, these certain meridians, and it's sending an electrical impulse back to specifically the amygdala and the hippocampus. If the hippocampus had a message, it's, I remember when this happened before. So now I'm going to send a message to the amygdala that says there is a tiger in the room.
Fire it all up. All systems go.
Yeah.
Ring the alarms. Pit sweating. That was my, I am really okay that we did a little run through on a tapping script that we're going to do. We've also drank a lot of coffee. Stella's
my medicine.
My go-go juice. Go lay down. Well, I'll deal with you here in just a little bit.
Getting the amygdala and the hippocampus to chill out and, be able to make a calm, rational choice, recognizing there actually is not, that deadline isn't a tiger in the room. Responding to that email doesn't actually, watching a news program that's, going to send you absolutely into it's going to rain, terror, whatever, it's all, or separate. Everyone's separate right now and we're very polarized in the world. Anything that could freak us out, rejection, whatever it is, can finally start to chill out when both of those pieces of our limbic system are told, it's okay. And it feels like a magic trick. It happens so quickly once you start tapping and expressing what it is that's really going on inside of you.
Moving energy.
Yeah, it's moving energy. So I would love it if you wouldn't mind jumping in here and talking to us a little bit about your perspective on emotional release and timeline hopping.
Timeline hopping sounds like very woo-woo territory, and it is. I'm sure I mentioned it in previous
I think we have
recordings about reality transurfing is a new hyper focus of mine. It was a book that was written a very long time ago, and I am such a novice to it that I don't feel comfortable trying to speak on it with any sort of I'm not even trying to act like I know what I'm talking about. I know just enough to sound like I know what I'm talking about. And I'm not trying to do that, but it taps into something that I innately kind of found myself on my own. I was telling Joan that I have the kind of dumbest example, but it came to me one morning whenever we had done a late dinner and I had, I had probably a last few things to watch before we had gone to bed, and I said, screw it, I'm going to just go to bed. It's a future me problem. And so it's really super irritating, dysregulating to me to get up and walk into, and now I have this. Before I can
Future me was pissed about your choice.
Yes, I'm already resentful. That hateful bitch that went to bed last night without doing these dishes left me. And before I can make coffee, all the things. Okay. And so I made a decision then that I was going to start choosing future Denise. And just making sure that the best way, the only way that I can ensure, and by the way, I'm the one that cooks in this family, so it was me that left the mess for me. But the only way that I can ensure to not have that morning disrupted and start off on a negative is to just choose her over tired me or, or whatever I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And that is moving me in the direction of choosing a different timeline. A fun little thing during rock camp a month or so ago, I was explaining I had my 2 granddaughters and my niece in the car with me, and I was explaining to them, if we made 5 different choices today, we could be on a totally different trajectory. We could be on a whole new timeline.
Yeah. We
could change like whatever we want to do. And that was leading us to if you have what we were calling a boo-boo morning, because we had our first 2 mornings at camp were a little bumpy on getting into a routine, we can change that. And you don't have to be stuck in it. And you definitely don't have to be stuck with uncomfortable feelings. That's, to me, timeline jumping. You are jumping to a point where you are regulated. You are not uncomfortable and not at the mercy of it. And I remember being given an option to choose to not be uncomfortable felt like freedom to me that I had never been offered before. Yeah. I don't know. It sounds pretty simple talking about it now, but it felt huge at the time. I've also learned a lot more about being able to move energy through my body. I was telling you about how my new therapist had asked me when I'm feeling activated.
Yeah.
What is
where do you feel it?
Yeah, where do I feel it in my body? And that caused me to feel very anxious because I was admitting an uncomfortable truth, which was I historically never really processed my feelings or emotions through my body. I would just intellectualize and kind of rationalize, think my way through my feelings without ever connecting this part of me into.
To your credit, it is exactly how we're taught to live. I mean, we are not taught. We've got this amazing human body that in real time is constantly giving us feedback about the quality of our thoughts and our beliefs and everything. And we take the sensations that our body produces as confirmation about whatever our thought is versus it's like, bitch, knock it off. What are you doing?
Stop doing
why?
this.
Can you tell this hurts?
Yes. We're uncomfortable.
Right.
We don't want to be here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another thing too. And some of the times, I have, social anxiety, or God forbid, having to go into a Walmart. I mean, that from the lighting. I just heard. I mean, that Walmart is changing their lighting, and they are changing it to. I don't remember, and I don't know lumens, and I don't know what the numbers that would equate with the lumens, but I mean, it was some great batshit crazy 100,000 lumen blue light or whatever to make it
going into your brain.
Physically more uncomfortable, to literally manifest anxiety, and therefore you are making impulse purchases. They're doing it intentionally.
I didn't realize
that is sinister.
That is sinister.
That is so sinister. One more reason to not step foot in the building, I guess. But anyway, I'm in the weeds. Meat suit. Being asked where I'm feeling activated, and I had said, so I had mentioned anxiety. She was asking me where I feel it. What is my not trigger, but how do I know?
Yeah.
And I told her that I wasn't really sure. I was like, maybe a stomach ache, and she said, well, that is very interesting, because you are, ever since I was started, doing this conversation, you are, and I can't do it because I'm holding my pen microphone, but ringing, your fingers.
Hands,
my hands. And I am very wiggly and very fidgety, and she, that had never dawned on me that,
that could have been a tell.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and my stems, I am neurospicy, and so I have things that I will automatically start doing to move that energy through my body.
Right. The body's so intelligent, it's trying despite you.
Yeah, yes. It's like we're gonna be rock.
I know.
Just sit on your hands.
Why is your leg shaking 100 million miles an hour?
Hold still, I can't. So I'm learning that rather than just be at the mercy of feeling these uncomfortable feelings and trying to stifle that. I have spent my whole life trying to rein all of that in and never knowing that I could just regulate it. I could move it around and maybe not completely get it out of my body. I'm going to probably be, anxious. That's I've always joked that I idle at about 75. So for me to shoot to 100, not that far of a trip. But I would like to be able to idle a little lower and not feel fucking tired all the time.
Because that's what happens when we live from the neck up and are, just divorced from our lower body. And to be fair and to just touch on human design for 2 seconds, a lot of projectors, which Denise is, are so mental that it is an extra layer their conditioning is extra strong around this, I guess is the best way to say it, because it is sort of your superpower, but you've got to learn
to operate the machinery in order for it to be a
exactly.
superpower and not really a hindrance.
The ultimate thing to understand is that the brain is not a processor of what is coming, what will happen. So we use it all the time to make decisions. And it's exhausting because we're always thinking about whatever choice we're going to make. And are we going to make the right one? And I don't care if it's a benign, like what kind of coffee I'm going to have in the morning, to like where I might move and live one day. We overthink absolutely everything. The brain really is only good at processing what has happened, not what, is the best choice to make for us in the future. The body is actually the best instrument to help us make decisions. The best rule of thumb is if it feels good, it's a yes. And if it feels like shit, it's a no.
Yeah.
And it's full stop.
We used to use that in a not great way. If it feels good, do it.
Right.
I'm back in the day. So, that is really funny to me, come full circle moment. But yeah, if it feels good, it's usually, and not,
I think you have to get real.
yeah.
Because, again, we're divorced from here down. And so what we don't always know, it's very confusing. What
Correct.
do I feel right now? Does this feel good? Does this feel bad? Where am I feeling at? Couldn't even tell you. and a lot of people can't tell
and
us.
Excitement.
Yeah.
And that anxious feeling exists in the same space in our brain. So
Right.
it's like I can feel excited, like today we're recording a podcast, and if I'm feeling, spicy pits, or I'm running big, feelings from it, we're doing something that is, it is a little elevated and it is a little bit exciting. I could read that as I'm feeling anxious or whatever. I also am learning that I get to choose my perspective along with, I have these tools. Also, I can change my thinking, which is probably its own topic on its own, but it was kind of a real-time thing that I was explaining to my husband, Barrett, last night, so in starting EMDR therapy, I get to do a genealogy chart, and I have tricky and interesting genealogy, which I'm sure we will get into eventually, but it is intimidating, like picking that all apart. And the one thing that has me, I was feeling I'm just going to say big feelings about yesterday that I couldn't quite put my finger on, was that in my birth order that I get to suss out among, siblings, I am the oldest of the 7 siblings that I share DNA with, and I'm also the only one. All the rest of them are pairs. So, I exist from the union of 2 people, and then they went on to be, in the family that I grew up in, there were 2 siblings, and then the bio dad went and produced 2 siblings with another partner, and then 2 more. I'm the only one. And I was talking to Barrett about it last night, and I was like, I don't understand why that feels heavy to me, that I am the only one. The others all have each other.
Yeah.
And I am the only one, and that feels very...
Only child?
Very othered.
Yeah.
And as I was saying that, I was thinking about the difference between being lonely and being alone. And I have spent more time alone in the last year than I have ever been afforded in my whole life. And I have never not once been lonely. I have not felt lonely at all. I have not felt bored. I have not felt lonely. I have not felt like, oh my God. It has all been very positive and very healing and very comforting. And being able to be in this smaller space, and it's I just have called it the chrysalis or the cocoon. And I've referred to myself as, I'm no longer a caterpillar, and I'm definitely not a butterfly. I am the blobby pile of gooey cells that the caterpillar turns into before those cells reassemble and are a butterfly. So in that real-time moment when I was talking to him about it, I said, I was going to say that it is kind of a lonely feeling, but I actually think that it's more of an alone feeling. And I've spent the last year redefining my feelings around aloneness. I enjoy me now. And I really was not ever comfortable being by myself with my thoughts. It always felt, a little squirrely. I don't know where we're going to go. And now that I have learning these new tools and regulating my nervous system and learning learning who I am, first learning who I am.
Yeah.
Not who I've been taught to be, not who I've been told that I am, but just genuinely and gently meeting myself in a new way, stripped down, because I could tell you who I am in relationship to attached to a whole lot of other people, but not who I am just on my own. So in that moment, I was just like, that feels heavy and like a negative because I've chosen for it to feel heavy and like a negative. I can be, I mean, alone is, well, I'm unique. I've been told my whole life after they made me, they broke the mold. Well, fuck around if they didn't. I mean, anyway, thank you for going on that little journey with me. as we shall, as we do. But yeah, I think that is a part of this side of it, you know? I mean, like, we have the sciencey part of it, but there is the kind of...
Always leave room for the magic.
Yeah, that's where the miracle
exactly
happens.
And plus it's fun to believe in magic.
Well, it is. I mean, like, I say it all the time, magic is real because when you choose to believe in it, you see it.
Yeah,
and
it's true.
Do. I mean,
there's even science to back that up.
I really do.
Right?
I'm just like, oh man, that sucks.
Yeah.
I got my free guy glasses.
Absolutely.
I see that layer of reality.
So in thinking about putting this together, I thought the best tapping that we could do today is on getting out of our head and into our body and how we're really conditioned to do this.
Yeah.
One of the tools that we use within tapping is called the SUD scale, and you use it before you tap and you use it after you tap, and it's to just check in with yourself. SUD stands for Subjective Unit of Distress Scale. So you get to pick the number, and please don't overthink this because I do.
Yeah,
that's the only reason I say that.
Because we do.
Is because if asked, please give me a number from 0 to 10, 0 being I am calm, chill, relaxed, girly, to 10, I'm about to fly out this RV.
Yeah. I'm about to flip this table.
I have the hardest time giving a number, even if I'm like in the hospital or something. They're like, on a scale of, what's your pain scale? I'm like, 6 to 8. I'm like, I want to give you a 7.5 because sometimes a girl.
Same. Like, well, actually.
So try not to do that and just pick a fucking number, because ultimately what you're just trying to prove to yourself that it works. And the more that you can prove to yourself that it works and that you feel differently when it's over, the more likely you are to remember to do it.
I did colors, like I was telling Joan, I did colors and I didn't even know the SUD scale, but I will usually say, green to me is safe and calm.
Yeah.
Yellow, orange, and red. And
I
keep it very short and simple. There's just 1 through 4, but
That's smart.
Was literally telling you, I would love to be a green, that would be a dream. Yellow would feel like a vacation. Right. I idle at orange. So me shooting to red historically hasn't been a journey for me. It is a, you go. And I would like to be, actually I would love to be more geared I'm not. We're geared totally differently. Barrett is so aspirational because he can be genuinely unbothered. He's in it. He's aware. He's in it. He's participating. He's problem solving. But he is not cranked to an 11. He is not in fight or flight. And we all have our reasons for being shaped the way that we are.
Sure. And
those of us that grow up in a lot of chaos, our nervous systems are geared differently. I just happen to be, Barrett and I are very yin and yang. Joan's VM Human Design. Joan has seen our human design charts, and I'm not expecting you to remember them right now, but we are
two different types. I mean,
yes,
we are two different types, so you operate completely differently in the world.
Yeah, and where I am open, he is close.
Defined.
Yep. Defined. I knew I was going to say defined, and vice versa. In almost every way, our charts are very.
So you plug into each other.
Yeah, we do.
Literally, in this beautiful way that makes sense, and that's chemistry. When you talk about chemistry between people, it's literally plugging circuits into each other.
Give me cool chills.
It's really.
It is so real, and it is so awesome.
Yeah.
I guess that's what everybody said. But Barry and I are 10 years in. It's not like we are new. I mean, we're not new. It's new, but not new. But it is it's so awesome to me how we do. It's just that yin and yang energy of symbiosis. It works. And having another tool like human design to be able to quantify it works for me. Yeah. It was a big helpful tool for me. And I had introduced my new therapist in our session yesterday to human design. I had said, so casually as one does, well, I mean, I'm a project, because I was describing the fact that I collect Libras and that I grew up in a home with a Leo, which, knowing what I know now about being an Aquarius and how Leo and Aquarius are opposite, the zodiac wheel, we are very good partners. We're great matches, but we're also very good adversaries. That made a little bit of sense. And yes, and then the Libra, have and a Cancer. I have 2 Libras and a Cancer. And one of my best friends is also a Cancer. And she said, I'm a Cancer. And I said, okay, well, that makes sense. And I said, well, I'm an Aquarius. And I'm also a projector. So that's probably why if I come off a little bit, and I could tell, like, she was like, what? And I was like, sis. Am I ever going to drag you down all the back roads? I am going to take you on some journeys. And I told her, like, I have homework of a workbook that I get to dig into. And I gave her we're going to discuss human design whenever I come.
You can tell her.
Absolutely.
Cool.
She had the website pulled up.
Yeah, so I love it. It's so helpful.
Yes. Waking the world up, drip, drip, drop, everywhere I go. It's like glitter. Leaving
All right, so we're going to do some tapping. We're going to tap about getting into our bodies. So let me just ask you about yesterday. When you were asked, where do you feel that in your body? What was your SUD scale in that moment?
Oh, 10. I was immediately anxious. Immediately. Then now that it's so fun, I guess I'm a fast learner because I can tell you now that my body was telling me, holy shit, you've just been called to the carpet. Now you have to admit that you're disconnected from your body and you're da-da-da-da.
You might be judged.
Yes, and I wasn't. But also, it's like changing hairstylists. It's like changing doctors. It's like changing anything. I'm starting with a new therapist to do the EMDR. And also, it was a good time to do it. Our insurance changed. It was all, it was just, I feel like we're given our gifts. And then sometimes insurance changes and your doctor's out of network and you get to pick a new one.
Right.
Also, very anxiety provoking to me to think about, oh my God, I have to start over with a new. That is like very. Oh, it makes my arms feel. Well, and so, when she asked me, what my body was saying and where I was feeling the anxiety at, and I was like, I don't know, I guess I get a stomachache, and she pointed out to me that I was about to twist my fingers off of my hands, and I was doing all this. I was like, oh, okay, well then if I told the truth, I probably feel tight in my chest first, and my pits get spiked. And so, my body's telling me, like, we are cranking up. Cortisol is coursing through your veins, girl. Like a tiger is in the room.
Right.
And I was asked a very simple question. So I've been doing this. And, in that moment, I went to attend. My new tool is that I can recognize that. And also give myself permission to admit that.
Yeah.
I've never known that I could, as an adult, in a conversation, and Jonah's a very safe person for me, so if we were having a conversation that was getting elevated and I was feeling overwhelmed by it, I have historically never felt like I had the autonomy, the authority of us to say, you know what, this feels really uncomfortable to me and I would like to take a break. I want to tap out of this. I feel dysregulated. Can we revisit this? And feel safe that the other person would say, yes, even if she were elevated and in it wanting to, I have a feeling you would be like, yes, we probably should. No, I'm knowing you like I do. But I think it'll be really helpful with Barrett and I because he doesn't really get dysregulated like I do. And so while he can read it all over me that I am cranking up, he's never going to say, well, you seem to be getting elevated.
Well, no, because that's dumb.
That would be very dumb. This later, I love you, babe. Don't ever do that. That would be so dumb.
He's very smart, man.
It is our responsibility. I just like I've said, and I was even trying to explain this to my younger son when I was saying that, this is the most high-tech piece of technology you're ever going to operate in your whole life, and we go through it not correlating the way we operate it with the way that it functions. And that, I'm sure, sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher to him because the response that I got back from him was not. And I just said, liken it to this. You've got a brand new car, fresh off the lot. Treat that. How do you function in that? Because it's definitely a lot different than your old clunker that you've been in since you got here. Your car that you go, or let's say your parents gifted you their old, whatever junker car that you got whenever you turned 15 years old, and you've been bumping that into stuff. It's you would treat it differently than your brand new car. And I was like, well, then garbage in, garbage out. You cannot treat your body like it's just and expect it. optimally.
Right.
And that is not just like the way we eat or the way we sleep or
Sit or breathe.
Sit. Gosh, Melissa, we will do a whole talk on that. But regulating just your nervous system, again, I think I've said low-hanging fruit 10 times, but it is such low-hanging fruit, and it is something that we genuinely need every single day. There's not a day that goes by that you can just say, fuck it, I'm just going to let my nervous system run the shit. Well, I mean, well, that's not true. You can. I did for years.
Well, for sure. And I think it might be important to drop into this conversation how often we believe that we need something outside of ourselves to regulate our nervous system, which is why we often choose whatever it is that we choose to numb out. Whether it's drugs and alcohol, whether it's coffee, whether it's watching Netflix, whether it's on TikTok, shopping, I mean, we all have our choice, right? Yes. Like, sugar and drugs were kind of my,
I was never brave enough to do drugs. Like, I mean, I'm saying that I hadn't touched.
Right.
But I mean, like, that wasn't ever my thing. I'm a big chicken. But alcohol, I never from the jump had a healthy relationship with it. And I was running with it.
Yeah.
I was drinking as much as anybody. Like, any friend that I had that ended up going through treatment or getting sober, I was toe to toe.
Yeah.
So I tried.
And bless all of our hearts, because, I mean, it's pervasive. I don't really know anyone that doesn't.
It comes from no judgment.
Use some kind of substance, to help regulate what is going on inside of us that we can't outthink.
I recently did it with money.
Yeah.
Spending money and thinking and not thinking.
Yeah.
By the way, and it wasn't. I didn't, purchase a Clydesdale horse or something crazy. Which is, by the way, the potential for that is always there. Just buy something crazy. What are those Highland cows? It would really probably be more a miniature Highland.
The long-haired ones.
Yes, with bangs. Yes.
Just come on.
Thank you. Every day. Her flower crowns and all the things, but it was necessary stuff, but it was in a not healthy way.
Yeah.
In a kind of hoarding, a little bit obsessive way,
and you were in a fear state because you were trying to project into like what could go wrong.
I have to plan ahead.
Yeah.
I have to do this. And I have to do that. And I have to be prepared. The way that I was regulating that was by purchasing the things that I thought that would pad those corners, that would make this easier, that would make this simpler, that would make this da 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 da, to the tune of my husband looking at me and being like, "What is going on?" That is not even the nature of our relationship, but hello. And I was probably a TikTok where the little girl, the parent says, "Why did you do that?" And the little girl goes, "I don't know." That was my genuine, I don't know.
Yeah. Willing to think about it now.
Thank you for bringing it to my attention, because I didn't even realize that I was like hooked into this and doing that. And outside looking in, people would have said, well, she's, what I mean? Like, she's getting ready to do this, and these plans have to be made, and da-da-da-da. But you were right. It was not being done out of anything except just kind of a fearful.
It wasn't actually proactive, even though it felt like it in the moment.
It was very, and Barrett and I both agreed we learned very hard and expensive lessons. And by the way, as far as that goes, it wasn't, no, there was absolutely no harm done, but it did put, in a situation to where, it made Barrett feel gross, that he had to say to me, what's going on? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And I needed that experience in order to peel back that layer to see, I'm dopamine mining. I'm feeding myself these chemicals by doing, gathering the things and doing all the things, and I don't need to do that. Mm-hmm. And I think I was also avoiding processing grief.
Sure.
And that is the equivalent of me choosing, fucking future Denise and leaving dishes in the sink or whatever. I was, rather than addressing the fact that I had giant uncomfortable feelings that have to be processed and dealt with, I was choosing to do, kind of side, let it coming out sideways and trying to bypass around doing actual hard, painful work, and it's going to come up eventually anyway. So I'm grateful for all of the crash outs.
Right, that was a little one.
It was a little one. I was surprised that I can be as surprised as I am when it happens. Yeah. Crash. Curses! Yeah. And then when you see that it's a pattern, like
Yeah, right.
in the same vein.
So let's do a little tapping.
Let's do it. I'm going to set my microphone down.
Yeah,
We'll
I
do
think you
call.
can. I'll take mine off it, or put mine on my lapel here in 2 seconds.
It's
Just
like
a quick.
I can clip mine on too.
One of the cool things about tapping is that we fully address the problem itself. We don't avoid it. You can't jump from I hate my body to I am the most beautiful woman in the world, because your body will tense up and call bullshit. So we've got to start to move the needle, and that's really what the cognitive part of this is recognizing and naming the problem, and that, like, even though I'm having this problem, or especially because I'm having this problem. Here's a different kind.
I am having
I don't know if that
the biggest fucking problem right here, live, real time. I don't even know where that went.
I have no, yeah, we'll find it later.
Yeah.
But, and that might be loud. I don't know. Be
Bless-
careful,
I-
because that's picking up
Everything.
as you're bumping it.
Bless my heart.
So we want to make statements that edge ourselves towards the goal of wanting to feel however it is that we're wanting to feel, right? We do some tapping at the beginning that's on the side of the hand, and that's called the setup or the reversal statements, where it's like, even though I don't love how I look right now, I am willing to try to feel a little bit better today. And it's just like edges you towards it. And then maybe at the very end, once my system is calmed down, I'm feeling more regulated, I might hit I feel beautiful today. But even then I might not say that. I was like, maybe I start to, so we incrementally, and you'll see this in this tapping itself, I never make big, bold statements. I really just kind of edge us into where we're going. So we'll do 3 rounds. We take, we make 3 statements on the side of the hand, setting up the problem. And then we move through the points on the body. I'm just going to have you mimic them as I go through. We're doing a call and response with Denise, so you'll kind of jump in when Denise is speaking.
Yep. And God love you. Hopefully you don't have the experience with your mic that I just did. My God, look like a clown show right here, live on camera.
Okay, so to get started, you want to sit up nice and tall. You want your shoulders over your hips, feet on the floor, or if you're seated, you can do this standing too. Just make sure your not is really the answer here. And then just get started tapping on the side of the hand. Doesn't matter which hand you use, dominant, non-dominant, just pick
Jen's
one.
a lefty.
I'm a lefty. You're going to take a big, deep letting go breath. And then you're going to repeat after me. Even though I am stuck in my head.
I am stuck in my head.
I love and accept myself anyway.
I love and accept myself anyway.
Even though I overthink everything.
I think everything.
I'm open to changing this.
I'm open to changing this.
Even though I forget my body has wisdom.
I forget my body has wisdom.
Ready to learn how to trust it today.
I am ready to learn how to trust it today.
Okay, take another big, deep letting go breath. And then top of the head. You can use 1 hand or 2, doesn't matter. My brain just won't quit.
My brain just won't quit.
I keep overthinking.
I keep overthinking.
I live from the neck up.
I live from the neck up.
I've sort of cut my body out of the conversation,
I've sort of cut my body out of the conversation,
which makes decisions feel heavy.
which makes decisions feel heavy.
It's a little too much.
It's a little too much.
My mind is
tired.
The looping wears me out.
The looping wears me out.
I'm ready for a shift.
I'm ready for a shift.
My body knows things too.
My body knows things too.
I know my gut has wisdom.
I know my gut has wisdom.
I know my heart can speak the truth.
I know my heart can speak the truth.
So maybe I start to drop into my body a little.
So maybe I start to drop into my body a little.
Maybe it feels a little safer here today.
Maybe it feels a little safer here today.
A little calmer.
A little calmer.
Maybe I can start to let my body guide me.
Maybe I can start to let my body guide me. Learn to trust it.
So that my mind can have a wee break.
So that my mind can have a break.
I would love my head and body to be in balance.
I would love my head and body to be in balance.
And heart working together.
Guts and heart working together.
So that I can start to trust my whole self.
So that I can start to trust my whole self.
And decisions feel lighter.
And decisions feel lighter.
Maybe I feel a little bit more grounded.
Maybe I feel a little bit more grounded.
little more connected to myself.
A little more connected to myself.
Learning how to trust.
Learning how to trust.
My
body's wisdom.
So that I feel free.
So that I feel free.
And so it is.
So it.
Take another big, deep breath. And how do you feel?
I feel good.
Yeah.
I feel this feels really good.
Yeah. It does to me too. Most people feel lighter and calmer afterwards, and it works. I mean, I've just really never known it not to work, to be perfectly honest. I probably shouldn't make grand statements like that, but it's the best nervous system reset that I have ever found, and it's free.
Yeah.
I mean, you can pay me to help you.
Yeah.
And there are a million YouTube videos out there, and I've got some. We're going to link everything in the show notes today, but...
Well, one of the things that Joan had even pointed out when we were talking about what we were going to talk about today was how even she and I keep using Rock Campus as our example, but we worked together to help the girls whenever they were processing big feelings. And the thing, one of the things that comes to mind is, there was a girl that her boyfriend had broken up with her.
And they're learning how to form a band and play an instrument. In case you don't know what Rock Camp is, it's a summer camp that...
Social empowerment for girls through music.
Yeah.
And so in that they form bands, they learn their instruments. It's really the music is kind of just the modality that gets them together, gets them there, and then...
It can be overwhelming because you're around a bunch of new people, you're learning how to do a bunch of new things, right? So you're feeling incredibly self-conscious, so your nervous system is like, there are tigers.
Yeah, literally. And this year we had the most girls that we'd ever had. We had 60 campers, and then we probably had about 40 volunteers, 30 or 40 volunteers. And while all the volunteers weren't there at the exact same time all the time, roughly there's 100 girls and women in a confined space. There's a lot of energy.
So we were emotional support for these girls, which was super rad. Age 8 to 17.
Yeah, and we did, I have historically kind of been alone in that doing that work with the girls, and this Joan coming on board was, oh my God, it was a game changer. Number one, just having a person there with you whenever you're on the fly, dealing with people and dealing with someone had lost a grandma, someone had, it's just...
Some didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Yes. That was a really fun one.
Or they didn't get their choice to choose, 1, 2, 3, do you want to be, whatever instrument or lead singer, and everybody wants to be a lead singer, and then lead guitar shortly behind that. So
for sure.
There are girls that get disappointed because there's only so many spots. So it runs a gambit of what we're helping them regulate. But even when they weren't tapping with us, it was really cool to watch them regulate by watching us tap and regulate.
Yep.
We started our mornings off with a little bit of breathing, a little bit of yoga, stretching, quick little tapping. The 180 turnaround on the feedback from that, because historically it was my rickety ass up there on that stage forcing these girls to do some stretching. Forcing, that is a lie. Nobody is forced to do anything. Having them, do yoga, and I'm not a yoga teacher. I'm a yoga practitioner, but and I'm also hypermobile. So my yoga looks different from a lot of their yoga, and so I think that's historically why that hasn't been really comfortable. So long story short, it really wasn't a great energy exchange in the mornings unless I made it goofy. Yeah. Unless I tried to make it fun and silly, and then while that might be great for them, it was pretty dysregulating for me.
Got it, right?
It was not. I
put on your clown suit.
Right. Yeah. I am goofy and I am silly, but in a not. You know what I'm saying. Yeah. Anyway, long story short, it was really cool to watch it even passively work. That's a pretty big magic trick to watch a group of people, because there are some of them that weren't tapping. And then it was also super cool throughout the camp that week to see girls tap.
Right. And magic.
Yeah.
It was really, heartwarming.
Really, really validating, cool.
So as we're wrapping this up, tapping, it's fast, it's portable, you can do it anywhere. Hop in the bathroom, hop in your car. If you're feeling squirrely about whatever situation you're in and you just need a moment to calm down, 1 to 5 minutes of tapping can make such a massive difference. If something in today's episode lit you up in any way, again, I'll have a link to my EFT guide down in the show notes, which will teach you everything and give you ideas for creating scripts on your own, so that if you, in real time have some issues coming up, it's got lots of ideas of different very classic scenarios that humans deal with in the Western world.
Here's something that we haven't really addressed. We are open to questions, and
and
if anyone wants to ask us to expound on something, or I mean, I guess if you want to challenge us on something, feel free. I mean, we're open to that. Also, we probably will start doing a little tapping, like when we open it up, like moving forward in the future recordings and stuff. Just setting the tone for ourselves, and getting ourselves in.
We're gonna weave this tool in.
Yeah, we're figuring this out as we go along.
I don't know if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, right. I know that's surprising. We seem like we have our shit sewed together. You know what's really funny is I have heard. So I listen to quite a bit of podcasts, and a person that I have followed through many incarnations of many different podcasts. Her name is Jessa Reed, and I stumbled across. I've heard her make reference to a little podcast side thing that she had started. It popped up in my suggested thing. I have never searched it, and I think it's really cool. And it's called Spiritual Bro Book Club, and it's very funny.
She's funny.
She is very funny, but she's talking about, it's amazing to me that I've listened to like 4 different podcasts that she's had, and then today, whenever I was listening, the first thing they were talking about was pretty much exactly what I needed to hear. So I'm about to go off on a whole new little journey, but one of the things that I think it was called, If You Can't Tell, I Don't Know What I'm Doing, or something along those lines. And so I'm like, even someone that I admire, who has been doing this for a very long time, she still admits that this is a made-up job. This is a made-up thing. And
we're just flying by
the seat of our pants, and we're doing it however we want to. But we want to make it, ultimately, I would like for it to be fairly interactive. And our point in wanting to do Crash Out Alchemy is to, well, A, be an example for people that have lived messy.
Yeah.
And are in the process of maybe a spiritual awakening, or like through me, I mean, like going through a physical thing that brought them into a whole new spiritual shift, or, paradigm shift. And to be able to interact and gift this and teach and also learn.
It's a tool that keeps on giving. Once you know it, you can't unknow it. So it belongs in the toolkit.
And teaching children.
Huge.
And one of the things that I think the reason it triggers me is when I see adults expecting children to behave in ways that adults aren't capable of behaving.
Right.
Like, there is no way. I'm not regulated, and on my best behavior all day, every day, I can't sit still. I can't, so the reason I feel like it's a little triggering to me is because I'm sure that's how I parented my wiggly ass children, and so therefore, but like with my grandchildren or our grandchildren, I love being, it drives them a little bit crazy, because my granddaughter Scout, whenever I start talking about regulating her, she's like, I know regulating her nervous. That it is becoming something that is like, even like, telling them let's not eat too much sugar, or you know what I mean? Like, it is becoming a normal thing in our conversation, and having a tool to teach them, like, when they're upset.
It's going to be huge. I get that it's annoying now to them, but like at some point they will remember this in their later years and be like, damn.
Yeah.
She really knew what was going on. All right. Let's wrap this up. Until next time, remember, you don't have to crash out.
You can tamp it out. Love you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.